We're back with another episode of Mac Stories Unwind, the show that's all about the picks. This week's episode is sponsored by SaneBox. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Viticci. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing really well today, Federico. I'm excited about my pick today, but I'm gonna we're gonna roll right into our picks.
Well, hold on. Just a very quick PSA. We're going to share the details of our WWDC schedule on Mac Stories and the club very soon. I think starting Monday, we will have the full schedule on the site.
Yes.
We're doing a bunch of things that we've done before, but obviously we have some new activities this year because we have the club Discord. So be on the lookout for that because there's going to be, I think, things every day. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Some people are going to WWDC in person. We are not. And so we figured, let's just do a bunch of fun things remotely.
Let's turn it up to 11, as they say. And I mean, now's your time. If you want to join the club and be part of the action on Discord, just go to plus.club.
Yeah. So we're going to share the full schedule soon. That said, let's jump right into the picks, okay?
All right. See, I'm always jumping the gun on you, Federico. I know you. I should always wait for your PSA because you've always got a little tidbit for the folks out there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
That's
I
all
like
right.
my
It's all right.
announcements. Yeah.
All right.
So my pick this week is a music album, and it's the latest studio album by Simple Plan. The album is called Hotter Than It Looks. This is the 6th studio album by Simple Plan. Now, Simple Plan, if you're not familiar with them, they are a pop punk rock, some call them power pop as well, but it's really a pop punk band from Montreal, I believe. They've been in activity for 23 years. I believe the band started in 1999.
Oh, wow.
And if you are my age, so here's the thing, because we need to have qualifiers here. If you are my age, if you are in your mid-30s, you may remember Simple Plan from 2004. Because in 2004, Simple Plan released their hit album, Still Not Getting Any. And that album featured that song that you used to hear everywhere 18 years ago, Welcome to My Life. There's even an XKCD comic about Welcome to My Life. I mean, you heard the song, you know the song.
Oh,
so
sure.
if you're my age, you remember them from that album. If you are younger, if you're a teenager right now, these days, you may have seen Simple Plan 2 years ago on TikTok. Because this viral TikTok challenge went viral. It was it was during the first months of the pandemic when we were all stuck in lockdown. And the challenge was recreate a picture from your childhood as an adult. So you can imagine these pictures featuring, small children and babies recreated 20 years later from adults, with the same pose and the same object and the same subjects. And the challenge was based on the song from Simple Plan, I'm Just a Kid, right? So this went viral. There's going to be, I dropped a link in the show notes for the context of this challenge. So if you are much younger than I am, you maybe stumbled upon Simple Plan a couple of years ago. Now, Simple Plan, over the years, so I need to offer some context here before I talk about the album.
Before you go any further, I need to tell you that I just did a quick search of my music library, and I have one Simple Plan song.
And it's Welcome to My Life.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's that one. Most people remember them for that song.
Yep.
So, Still Not Getting Any from 2004. It's a classic pop punk record, meaning, it was from the era when Blink-182 were huge, when Sum 41 were huge, when Green Day had just put out their, really one of their key records, American Idiot, right? It's that era. But Simple Plan were more accessible, were easier to follow, I guess. Easier lyrics, not about politics, but about feelings and love and being sad, being angry. It was a pop punk record for emo-leaning teenagers, essentially, which is exactly who I was at the time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes. Now, over the years, Simple Plan have tried various pop-related things. For example, they did a collaboration with Sean Paul, the rap reggae artist. I actually, honestly, kind of loved Sean Paul from 2004, 2003. Sean Paul. What was the name of the record? Dury Rock? Was it the? Hold on,
I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that one. I'm not
you've
really a
heard
big
that
Sean
song.
Paul
You've heard
fan.
that. You heard the song "Get Busy." Shake that thing.
Yeah.
You heard that. That's from Sean. Oh, this is totally a tangent. I'm sorry, but I gotta mention this. Sean Paul, Dury Rock from 2003. I had that record. I had the original album on CD. I actually destroyed my CD player with that record. So anyway, Simple Plan. They did a collab with Sean Paul a few years ago, and they even did the song for the Scooby-Doo movie. They did that.
Not a great movie.
Not a great movie.
Not one of our picks.
Not one of our picks. I also wanted to share, while we're on the topic of old school Simple Plan from 2004, I actually saw Simple Plan live.
Really?
Perform just one song, which obviously was "Welcome to My Life," in the Turbo.
Really?
Of all places. So,
really?
Okay.
What were they doing there playing one song?
Okay. So now we need another parenthesis here, because there's another thing you got to understand about Italian entertainment history. Okay. So we used to have, when I was a kid, actually starting from the late 80s, all through the 90s and the early 2000s, there used to be this... It was called Festival Bar. Okay. I don't know what it was called bar. There was no alcohol being served. So Festival Bar was this event that was aired on TV, where a bunch of, it was a summer event in different cities of Italy. And on each night, they would call 20 to 25 artists from the top charts at the time. Not just Italian artists, right? But even, Simple Plan and all those acts from the early 2000s, like Lene Marlin and Natalie Imbruglia and, all these folks from the early 2000s. And so each week, Festival Bar would move to a different city. So they would build a stage, usually in a central square of a town or a city. But they would go to Rome, they would go to Florence, they would go to small towns like Viterbo. They would go to the southern part of Italy as well, like in Naples, in Puglia, for example, in Sicily. And tickets would be free, right? They would just build this stage in a public central square, and everyone could go there. And the event was televised, so it was pre-recorded. Right? And then a week later, it would air on TV.
Oh, interesting. Did they set up in Viterbo right in the center of the...
So they set up in Viterbo. So in 2004, 5, Festival Bar came to Viterbo for 2 nights, 2 events. So it was back to back. And the night I went because there were Simple Plan and Coldplay. But at the last minute, Coldplay didn't come.
Oh, boo.
And everyone started booing the presenters on stage when they said that Coldplay wouldn't come to Viterbo. Yeah, but at least we saw Simple Plan. And I have included in the show notes video evidence of Simple Plan playing for Festival Bar 2005 in Viterbo. If you've seen my photos of Viterbo before, you will recognize the place. This is the Piazza del Comune. You've been there, John, a few months ago. And yes, this is Simple Plan playing Welcome to My Life in 2005 in Viterbo. I'm in the audience, and fun fact, Silvia was as well. Although we weren't really close friends at the time. We were in the same class, but we were not
you weren't a couple yet.
No. We will be a couple of years later. but she was also there, and I tried to look for myself in the audience, but the video is super grainy. It's
I bet. Yeah, it's kind of old.
It's a 360p video.
Oh, sure, because somebody with a cell phone from 2004.
No, it's from
right?
TV, but TV was not HD at the time.
Yeah,
we
sure.
didn't have
standard
HD.
def.
Yeah, it was standard. Yeah. But I don't
Wow.
know. I was there somewhere in the audience, and so that's Simple Plan. So
That's
anyway,
a good story. Good story.
Thank you. So Simple Plan, they're back with this new record, Harder Than It Looks, and this album has the same energy of Still Not Getting Any. And the band has pretty much said this in interviews as well. I was reading this interview with the singer. And he basically said, we've accepted sort of the band that we've become. We've tried many experiments, and I feel like we're now at this point where we are very comfortable with our sound and the fact that we have this core fan base of people that grew up with us, and they know the kind of sound that they can expect from us. And we wanted to go back to our roots with this album, to go back to that sort of sound and energy of Still Not Getting Any from 2004. And this album sounds like a mature version of that. It's a very compact record, which is something that, I appreciate. 10 songs, 11 songs.
We've seen a lot of that this year so far. You and I have both suggested at least a couple albums that are like that.
Yeah, you can get through this album in 35 minutes. Very enjoyable record. Sounds like old school Simple Plan, but, better sounding because, we are in 2022. Mm-hmm. This album was actually finished before the pandemic. They put it on hold, just before completing the final mixing. They put it on hold and they waited on it for 2 years.
That must have been hard. I can only imagine if you and I had some project that we were ready to release and then we sat on it for 2 years. That would be awful.
You sit on it for 2 years, but they realized, there's this thing going on and it's taking a huge toll on everyone and on our families. And we want to do this when we're ready to tour again and to do this right. And so I think they made the right decision because you couldn't tell that this is an album from 2 years ago. It sounds like also there's this revival, I think, right now of this kind of music, folks, I think, and young kids also are into this kind of stuff again. Thanks to a bunch of reasons, like Olivia Rodrigo, for example, being one of them. Like this kind of music is back and going to concerts and going, My Chemical Romance are back for a reason, right?
Right.
So all these folks are coming back because this music is cool and fun. And, if you ask me, emo never really died, but that's a different topic.
It can't.
From this album, a few things I want to point out. The Antidote, congratulations, Wake Me Up. These are classic pop punk songs. I especially love Congratulations. I love The Antidote. I think these are really easy, summery sounding Simple Plan songs. 2, the closing track on this record. It's actually a very powerful song. It's about the perspective of a kid from a kid in a family where the parents are divorcing. And so it's from that perspective, it kind of reminds me of Stay Together for the Kids by Blink-182 from many, many years ago. Like it's that same theme, but from the perspective of the kid. And so it's a really powerful closing track for this album. Ruin My Life, which is another really good song. It's actually the latest single, I think, from the album. It features Derek Whibley from Sum 41. It's the singer of Sum 41. It's on this song. And I also want to point out how iconic is the song that sounds the most different on this album. It kind of reminds me of a Panic at the Disco song. It's got that sort of epic style to it. And in fact, in interviews, the band said they believe this will be the track with the biggest chance of becoming like a radio hit. Like it's that kind of song that I could see, for example, being used in commercials for like sports or a sports video game. Like it's got that epicness factor to it that I could see this song being used on TV. It's a really good song and I like it. Basically, if you liked Simple Plan in 2004, like I did, and you like still not getting any, and you still remember Welcome to My Life, and you have been craving this sort of music, this is totally the record for you. If you are new to this genre of music, it's a solid, easy, enjoyable pop punk record that you can get through in 35 minutes. Very easy and memorable lyrics. You will find yourself humming along to these songs very quickly. And it actually led me to rediscover some of the older discography of Simple Plan. So I'm really enjoying this. It's actually one of my favorite records of the year, and it's very likely something that I'll spin a bunch of times this summer. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that sounds great. I'll have to check it out. Obviously, my music library is pretty shallow when it comes to Simple Plan based on my quick search. So maybe I'll end up doing the same. This episode of Mac Stories Unwind is brought to you by SaneBox. Organize your inbox and never waste time on email again with SaneBox. SaneBox is your personal email assistant that automatically organizes your inbox, saving you loads of valuable time. The app works with your existing email service, so your most important messages always reach your inbox. The rest of your messages are carefully organized into designated folders like Sane Later and Sane News. You can snooze emails too, setting them aside to deal with when you have the time. Better yet, if there's something you never want to see again, drag it into the Sane Black Hole folder. It's far easier than the hit or miss process of unsubscribing from email lists. SaneBox has a built-in reminders system too. Sane reminders are a terrific way to stay on task. Send yourself a reminder to do something later, or send yourself a reminder when someone hasn't responded to one of your messages. Also, because SaneBox works with existing email setups, there's no app to download and no email account to set up. You can use it with any email service and client you want. Sign up today for a free 14-day SaneBox trial and take back control of your email. You'll see big benefits immediately as the message count in your inbox drops, and you'll be able to maintain control going forward with SaneBox's help. Mac Stories readers and listeners of this show can receive a special $25 credit automatically by using the URL sanebox.com/MacStories. Again, that URL is sanebox.com/MacStories for a $25 credit. Our thanks to SaneBox for their support of the show. All right, Federico, I have a bit of a story for you, which is since getting an Xbox Series X, I have been exploring the Game Pass catalog as well as other things available for that platform. I've been checking out a lot of different ways to play these games too. And as a result, I've been just kind of dabbling more than deeply playing any particular games. But last weekend, as I was looking through the catalog, kind of going beyond Game Pass and seeing what else is there available right now on Xbox that I might want to play, I came across a sale. And it was a sale for Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy. All right. And my first parenthetical here, Federico, is Definitive Survivor Trilogy. What's up with, the gaming industry has a real problem with all these different versions of games that they put together, whether they're remastered or whether they're collections. And sometimes the names get a little ridiculous. This one's not too bad, I guess. Definitive Survivor Trilogy, because these, the definitive editions of these games already came out before. And now this brings together Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, the very first one is the one that I've been playing recently and last week, and I'm about halfway through it. This is a game that I've played before. I think it came out in like 2013 or so, and this collection came out like a year ago to celebrate, I believe it was the 25th anniversary of the very first Lara Croft game. And Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is a game, as I said, that I've played on the PS4 in the past, but it's been years now since I played it. And I kind of decided after going through the catalog and running across this sale, $20 for all three of these games plus like 20 DLCs. I already own this game on the PS4.
Wow.
But I thought, you know what, for $20, I'm going to get everything in one place and see what it's like on the Xbox. And so I did, and I played a lot of this last Saturday. I was taking an easy day of playing video games, and I hooked this up with the C-Force portable OLED screen. And oh my, this game, as always, I thought looked really good, but it looks really, really good on that C-Force OLED display. You know, it's in 4K and it has HDR and all that. But it's an older game. It's been out for 8 or 9 years now. But even at the time, it was kind of the game isn't like groundbreaking from the standpoint of gameplay or anything. But I think the visuals in this game have always really struck me. You know, the way the lighting is done and the textures and the environments. I've always loved this game. And so I went with the comfort food choice and went back to a game that I have played before and played through the whole way, but I hadn't touched in a very long time. And I've really been enjoying it. I mean, you know, it's your typical action adventure type of game, similar to Uncharted, for example, and in that series there, where, you know, you're playing as Lara Croft, who gets stranded on an island with her team that is looking for the Yamatai, which are this mysterious Japanese group. And it turns out they're on this island. And this island there's something going on. There's something supernatural happening. But there's also this kind of like cult leader named Matthias, who is in charge of these henchmen. And those are obviously the enemies that you have to defeat as you go through the game. And I think it's a really nice balance between exploring, collecting items, and fighting, but it's both, you know, there's both active fighting and stealth as well. But, you know, I'm always have mixed feelings about stealth games. I like stealth games, but I don't like games that are all about the stealth. I find they can be kind of stressful. But this, you know, you've got to you can make your choice. You can kind of go straight into combat, or you can be stealthy about it, and it pays off to be stealthy in some circumstances. I think the parts of this game that I've remembered I didn't like a lot are there's lots of relics and things to collect, which it gets a little tedious after a while. It doesn't fit super well into the game, I don't think, but it fits in the sense that, you know, Lara Croft is an explorer and like an archaeologist and is always looking for items, but it doesn't drive the story that much. The other thing is, this game really has a thing about body parts. Like there are dead bodies everywhere, and you know, she falls into these caverns that are just like full of corpses and things. A little bit over the top at points, where it's like, right? It's like maybe you could tone that part down a little bit. I mean, it helps make it creepy, I suppose, but it's like really over the top in spots. But then you'll have points where, like early on in the game, one of the first big things you have to do is you have to climb up this mountain, and then you have to climb up this radio tower and tune in to try to bring these rescuers into the island to save your crew. And I actually kind of felt like I was getting vertigo just watching as I was climbing up this radio tower, because it does these sweeping vistas of the island and looking down where, you know, you're on this metal pole essentially with a very rickety ladder trying to get up to the top and looking around. And it just gave me the sense of, oh my gosh, you know, I'm up on a high ladder, and it really made me dizzy. And it's just really well done in that sense, because it's just the visuals and the sound are so good. And that's the other thing I guess I would say, is that the combination of the screen that I was using, plus I've been using the Xbox headphones, and it really has added a new layer to playing this game that I played long ago in 1080p on the PS4. I mean, it just looks fantastic. And, you know, it's because I'm familiar with it and I still remember the mechanics and what kind of what you have to do at each stage. I've been kind of plowing through it pretty quickly, but I like that. I mean, it's one that I don't have to really think about or learn to get good at again and get through. And that's kind of just what I wanted, because I didn't really want to dive into something totally new last weekend. And, you know, if you haven't played this game, I would highly recommend it or revisit it, because it looks fantastic on these new systems.
Very nice. Very nice. That's a surprise. Nice.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've played one of these games. Now, I've got two more that I can do. I think I'll probably take a break after Tomb Raider Definitive Edition because there's part of me feels a little bad about playing almost 10-year-old game because there's so many new things that I haven't played that I'd like to play. On the other hand, I don't know. I mean, it's like it is kind of fun to revisit some of these older games at the same time. So that's what I decided to do. All right, Federico, that's it for this week. I want to thank our sponsor again, which is SaneBox. You can find us over at macstories.net, where on Monday you'll find out all about what we're going to be doing for WWDC. So stay tuned for that. You can find Federico and I over on Twitter and Instagram, where Federico is at Vitici. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHWS. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.